for being with us on Talking Tech. A lot has happened in the past year, and I thought it would be a good idea to just sit down, do an interview. In this case, long distance interview, but to get a sense of what's happening on your end, and also to get a bit of an update on what's since April, when your last sort of business update was. And just sort of to jump in there, you presented a new set of near-term goals. Can you bring us up to speed on the most prominent ones of those? So, including the educational vertical and the deployment of the end-to-end piracy solution.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. It's been a while since we've chatted, and thanks for having me on again. It's always a pleasure to update your listeners. And I think things have progressed quite a bit since last we spoke, so it is good. It's a good opportunity to catch up. As you mentioned, we did release our latest set of near-term goals in April. The previous set, we had done a good job of sort of communicating to the investors that, here's our path to revenue and here's what we're going to do. And I think we executed really well on actually achieving those goals in a near-term sort of time frame. So when we put these out, it was really the exact same intention, right? It's going to be a while before people see numbers in the financials. And even when they do see numbers, we're well away from being valued on, multiples of EBITDA or something like that, because it's an aggressive growth story. But we are, of course, very interested in getting the revenue and taking the business to the next level. And that's what we said loudly and clearly in this set of goals that we released 2 months ago, that in the very near term, we are going after, we're going after far more than this, but we're going to get in the very near term at least 6 revenue generating deals. And we're getting a bunch of traction in a couple different verticals, which is why we actually went to the next step of spelling those out. As all of your listeners will be aware, our company is organized across a few different horizontals, like search, right, where it's really applies to a bunch of different vertical industries. And we're starting to really see traction in education, in news, and in sports. And I think we're going to really in all 3 of those verticals have some announcements very, very soon here. So it's progressing quite well.
All right, sounds good. Looking at the pipeline, with IBM, you mentioned a while back there's quite a bit of activity there. Can you update us on that? What you're seeing? What sort of prospects you're talking to?
Yeah, IBM is, as always, interesting, right? Because they're the giant behemoth. They're into everything. They have their fingers in every pie. And as we work with them as a smaller company, it's often challenging to figure out exactly what the best and most exciting opportunities are. They're working with us very, very closely on the Warner trial. So they're keen on the media and entertainment side, because that's a space where they want to grow their business. We're also starting to get a bunch of internal traction with their security and defense organization, and that's starting to heat up as well. So really quite bullish on the IBM relationship.
And I guess especially the security and defense, that is very sort of, I'd say, high value on their end, but especially for you guys as well in terms of margins. Is there any difference? If you look at margins across the different verticals, what's the most sort of promising in terms of margins there?
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think because we're a pure software play, although I think we're going to get a chance to talk about our SaaS platform in a little bit, in the general model, effectively everything is at zero incremental cost. It's just a software license. Now, of course, we're continuing to invest in research and development, and we've had a few new follow-on patents granted, but the cost of operations is effectively zero unless you're in the SaaS model. And in the SaaS model, it's all about scale, but we imagine at scale, it's sort of standard SaaS metrics. That it'd be somewhere between 20 and 30% COGS, and the rest is pure profit at that point.
Yeah, right. So you're not really differentiating between different verticals when it comes to setting price or that sort of thing.
No, I think that the different verticals are different in terms of scale, and the pricing changes in terms of scale. So, for example, when we look at the movie studios, people, including ourselves, think of them as big players. But in terms of content library, if you look at the entire catalog that Warner has of all their movies, all their TV shows, everything, it's still only a fraction of the video that just Oklahoma State has. Right? There's a lot more video out there than people imagine. Sort of the high value content libraries are not necessarily the biggest libraries where you're going to get the most volume in search. So the price per unit will differ across verticals because of the scale, but in terms of pure profitability and margin, we imagine they're about the same.
Right. Okay. And you already mentioned the SaaS platform. You launched a beta version of that a little while ago. Can you explain the significance of that platform for independent developers for your own commercialization process going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, the SaaS platform it's one of those things that we built it out last year based on a phenomenon that was happening in the market as we went out and talked to companies. And as I mentioned, as you know, we're going after these 4 horizontals. It still to this day remains true that 100% of the time, literally every single time that we're in a meeting with a client and talking to their tech team, and the light bulb goes off. They get the epiphany of what it means to expose the data of the video. 100% of the time, they come up with a new application that we haven't thought of yet. And that's really the power of the SaaS platform, right? We're going to go after all the fish we can go after in the sea, but that's only a tiny fraction of the world's video, no matter how we do it. The SaaS platform enables people to come in, and when they have one of those brilliant ideas that we haven't thought of yet, great. Build your own product, go to market on top of it. This is just virtual video for the entire world. And even though we are still in beta trials and are only working with a close set of developers and close partners, I couldn't be happier from a number of different perspectives. So first of all, we've already had several people approach us and start working with the platform in beta to become resellers to enable exactly what we want to have happen there. But more importantly, we've already had people approach us to become customers of the client platform, of the SaaS platform, to do things that we were never going to do and wouldn't have thought of. And although it's above and beyond sort of the near-term goals, I think getting a SaaS customer launched that's going to be recognized in the market and shows exactly that, hey, somebody showed up on our doorstep and asked for something new and magical with video that can't be done today. A system integrator came along, built a solution for them, and is taking that to market to a whole new industry that we were never going to approach, or at least certainly not in the near term, really is going to demonstrate the value of SaaS once that happens. And that will be happening very shortly here, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I guess Twilio is probably the best example of a SaaS-based model where, a highly successful model. So I guess that's sort of what you're aiming towards. I think, there are probably over 1 million developers now on Twilio's SaaS platform, I guess. So, but of course, that's a long way off for you guys. But that is, I guess, the ultimate sort of goal for you as well.
Yeah, and Twilio is interesting. It's because they do have a bunch of developers across a bunch of different sectors. And I think it is sort of the same idea, right? They were making telephony available in the web, and it's not the same thing as what we're doing, obviously, but it is the same sort of idea where they're inventing a whole new thing that seems easy but wasn't there before and opens up a whole new world of possibilities. And that's exactly what we're doing with video. And I think you're right. We're going to get individual contributors who are out there doing new stuff in their backyard. We're going to get the open source community building stuff on top of it. We're going to get large enterprises working with their R&D teams. And most significantly, right, we're going to get active requests from industries trying to solve real business problems and being able to provide solutions for them through our group of system integrators who know the VVE product and can deliver next generation innovation.
Right. Okay. And then just moving to blockchain, you released the blockchain solution for video in December of last year. Can you talk about a few practical applications of this sort of technology for content owners?
Well, yes and no. So just to clarify, we didn't launch a blockchain solution in December. We announced our blockchain strategy in December. And the blockchain solution is in active development as we speak. Actually, I firmly believe it's going to be the most exciting application in the world of blockchain today. Because if you look at what's happening out there with blockchain, of course, its origin is in cryptocurrency, but everybody for almost a decade now in Silicon Valley, all the VCs have been saying, it's not about the crypto, it's about the blockchain and what other things you can deliver with it. And the promise of the blockchain is to be able to take digital assets of any sort, not just cryptocurrency, but whatever digital thing you have, and actually be able to claim ownership of it and provide real binding transfer of it and engage with content in the way you would with physical goods. So you can move things around and claim ownership, claim possession. And to date, blockchain hasn't really delivered very much of that. You see a few things happening with contracts administration, a few things with titles, but one of the big challenges with the blockchain is that it's really, really big. Just the Bitcoin database, just for little cryptocurrency coins, I haven't looked at the numbers in a few months, but it was over 150 gigabytes just in transaction data for Bitcoins. So you can imagine if you start looking at real digital assets. I mean, if you pick up your phone today and take a high-res photo, that's probably 12 megabytes or something just for a single photo. You start thinking about high-def movies or valuable video content, trying to do that in the blockchain would quickly outgrow all the storage in the universe, right? But because of our video virtualization technology and moving the video into a virtual space where that's a tiny, tiny fraction of the size of the origin asset, we can actually embed that virtual file directly in the blockchain, just as you would a crypto coin, and really make the blockchain deliver on that long-term promise. And we're working very closely with all of our partners in this, notably, of course, IBM. I think, we've said for a while that one of the values of our collaboration agreement with them is the ability to do deep R&D. And doing this sort of R&D where we're delivering a blockchain solution that transforms the world of video ownership and enables whole new monetization models is going to be a significant change to the world of video, later this year.
Right. Okay. And so, just on you mentioned IBM within sort of your broader blockchain strategy, or maybe there will be different partners as well, of course. But can you give some sense of the traction you're getting with this, with the with the strategy or the solution, longer term? What they're seeing right now, what you're seeing right now with your partners?
Internally with the partners, it's more from the technical side at this point. And I think even IBM themselves would have been surprised, say 3 or 5 years ago, to say that, hey, 3 or 5 years from now, we're going to be the world's leader in blockchain technology. But that is, in fact, the position they find themselves in. Right? Nobody of the other cloud vendors is anywhere near as far along as they are in terms of their hyperfabric and the work they've been doing with the Linus Foundation. They're leaps and bounds ahead of their competitors in terms of blockchain technology. And we're, of course, leveraging that to build our solution out. In terms of traction in the market, the product isn't there yet, so it's a little early. But everyone we talk to, from high-end movie studios to indie producers to the world of sort of, I don't know what you want to call this, but the semi-pro world of content creators from YouTube and Twitch who are monetizing through those channels today, are very excited about new opportunities there and the ability to both monetize and protect their content. I think everybody's excited about what's going to happen here.
Okay, sounds good. All right, just to wrap up then, in the near term, what are the things that you're sort of looking forward to, and I guess what can investors expect in the near term from you guys?
So we're 2 months into our near term goals, and I think the investors can expect to start seeing announcements about us checking those off. It's going to be getting those commercial deals done. It's about getting a few more partnerships done. It's about getting into these specific vertical industries and showing really the value of the Linus product in a real world application. That's going to be the key validation of these commercial deals. Is the revenue is exciting, but once people see this live in action, changing the way you interact with video, that's where the magic happens. So I think that's what we're going to be looking for over the next couple of months.
All right, excellent. Sounds good. All right, Chris. Well, thanks very much for being with us in this sort of long distance interview. The quality of the audio, or sorry, the video was not as good, but I think it was very good to get that message across. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. As always, great to catch up, and hopefully I'll see you soon and we can do one of these a little closer in person.